Hello, and welcome to episode 171 of Prog Review. And we're doing this concept album thing, you know. You remember that? No. So anyway, if you haven't read the description, you know, if your guide dogs led you here, I'm talking about this one. You see what I did there? I haven't told them if they were blind. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, I'm talking about Brave by Marillion. Now, Marillion, they've scored quite highly on the concept album stakes, you know, if there was a big list, because they've dabbled with the whole concept album format a number of times. They've done 3 distinct narrative works in Misplaced Childhood, Clutching at Straws and Brave, this one. Though I would argue that albums such as Afraid of Sunlight and Happiness is the Road can also be put in the concept album column, you know, in that category, as they deal with specific themes. And again, you know, relating back to my argument that a concept album can be thematic and not necessarily have to have a distinct linear story running through it. Now, this album was released on the 7th of February 1994. I remember it well. I remember it well indeed. And by all accounts, the band slaved over the recordings between November 1992 and August 1993, and they relocated to Miles Copeland. You know, Miles Copeland, manager of the Police, you know, brother of Stuart Copeland. They stayed at the Chateau Marouat in the Dordogne region of France. Oh yes, indeed. And that's where they made the record. And you know, a lot of the location you can hear influenced the recording. There's lots of atmospherics that have incorporated into the record whilst encamped at the castle. Now, whereas the majority of concept albums are very masculine, you know, in their delivery, and are wrapped up with the dealings of the foibles of the male psyche, you know, what we have to overcome, what we have to deal with during our lifetimes. Brave comes from the other side of the track and delivers a story, you know, that, well, it can be held up as one of the few feminine concept albums. Yes, indeed. Though I've got one eye. I don't think you can see one eye. He's looking over at Miss Bush over there. You know Miss Bush, yeah. She's running up that hill, yeah. Anyway, indeed, this was inspired by a radio news report that Steve Hogarth had heard on GWR radio about a young girl they found on the Severn Bridge, who was unable to speak. And so Steve Hogarth used this as his jumping off point, and he delivers a story of said young woman, but she's cast very much as the victim in an uncaring and exploitative world. Yes, indeed. In fact, one could say that this is the yin, I said yin, to Clutching at Straws' yang. One album is told from the female perspective, and the other is very male, and they do a good job, you know, complement each other, you know, two sides of the same coin, if you will. And for my review of Clutching at Straws, feel free to touch the hand, and I will remember to put the annotation in at a later date. Remember to do it, Darren, you lazy bastard. Oh yes, and if my memory serves me well, the original release of this album, the CD release back in 1994, told you to play it loud with the lights off, and I have many a happy memory of doing such a thing, you know, with the old headphones on or bumping it out to annoy the neighbours. And I was very enthusiastic about the record at the time. You've got to remember what it was like in 1994. There weren't that many prog albums out. This and Genesis, I think. We Can't Dance, I think, was around that time period. 91, 92. Oh God, it seems such a long time ago. So many things happened. But anyway, I've lost my place. Anyway, yeah, I was very enthusiastic about it. And in 1998, the band reissued their back catalogue with EMI, and they did a very good job of bringing out this expanded version, which has 2 discs and everything. And what we'll do is I'm going to hand you over to my good friend Darren, and we'll have a little look at this now, shall we? You fancy having a little look? Yeah? Having a little nosy? Take it away, Darren. Why, thank you, Darren. And as you can see, this is the double CD version released in 1998. It's a 24-bit remaster. whatever that means. But as you can see, it comes in two lovely picturey disky type thingamajigs. They really went crazy with the art department. They hit them with a big stick and made them come up with all this. But there you go. It's very good value for money. I think they've got them on offer on the old Amazon, so you can get them fairly cheap these days. And so there goes a picture of the Severn Bridge, and there's the imagery. And there's the band with the lyrics, and so you can pore over the lyrics and that, and yeah, as you can see, it's been designed for people that can't read, because they print all this stuff on pattern backgrounds, and I can never read the bloody stuff. Why don't they print them on plain backgrounds? But this is interesting. This is the actual image, the original image that the entire Brave artwork is based on, and they cropped around the model's face and used that for the cover. Yeah, but you didn't know that. And so there you go. And you get some nice little liner notes from the band telling you about their experiences of the recording, which is nice. Again, they all do in this series of remasters. They're very good value for money, and especially with the second CD giving you lots of B-sides and alternate stuff as well. So yes, if you haven't got this album, this is probably the best version to get. And there you go. So right, so just put this all back, put it back in the case, and I'll hand you back to the big fat idiot. Take it away, Darren. Well, I think you'll agree that was very informative as usual. Now, the album itself begins with the sounds of the morning on the bridge, of water and police radio. I think is that a man playing a trombone badly? And it's the story itself is kind of told in semi-flashback, detailing all the wrongs that are befalling this damaged and confused heroine. And the band itself have touched on similar themes with Chelsea Monday. Remember that back in the day, back on the one with the jester on the front. That's all of them, isn't it? But yeah, that one. Losing on the swings, I'm losing on the roundabouts. And so again, that song owes an awful lot to T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland Again, a bit like Genesis with their cinema show. These prog bands, they should be paying Eliot a retainer or something, shouldn't they? And again, it's like I said, it's another female protagonist who's done wrong by society and has a sticky fate. She ends up in the water. Now, with this album, to say that the band labours the point would be an understatement, and so misery and woe and shoegazing is indeed the order of the day. Now, don't get me wrong, it adds up to a very heady brew of melodrama, and that's what we've got here. It's a very melodramatic album. It's more of a soap opera, I would say. It's a very, very soapy. And the problem I have is you don't actually get any feeling for the female protagonist. Yeah, it's a great shame, all these bad things that are done to her, but she's merely like a cipher. She's like an image on which the band paints the reason for why someone might want to go onto a bridge and throw themselves off of it. She's very much two-dimensional, whereas everything else to her is very much three-dimensional. If that makes any sense. But saying that, the music is, it's very strong, especially during the Goodbye to All That suite, which encompasses Mad, Opium Den, Wave, the bit. And the atmosphere painted by these pieces is still strong enough to hit me to this day. And when the chords come in at 7 minutes 32, always put a chill right through me indeed. And then the heavens open and we have beams of light, and that guitar comes chiming in, and then the reason why we're all Marillion fans in the first place becomes evident. You know what I'm saying. Now, I love that bit of music, and the band, would you believe, actually commissioned a film to be made of this album. Yeah, it's like their version of Tommy. No, it isn't. And you can still get it on DVD or video or whatever. Now, but I actually remember seeing a broadcast of it on QD Music back on Thames Television back in the day, back in 1994, with a Mr. Mike Mansfield hosting. Anyone remember that? Remember? Cue the music. Cue the music. That's just me then, is it? Anyway, it's a pretty awful film. Maybe I'm being unfair, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. I might go and buy the DVD just to refresh my memory, but I remember it having pretty low production values. It was very much like a student film, but there's a part during that lovely instrumental piece, the bit that I really like, the Opium Den, I think it might be what it's called, when the imagery on the screen brings up some sort of, I don't know, sex scene or implied rape scene. I don't know. But I shit you not, Steve Hogarth's gurning face pops up and starts bearing down on you. Like that. Now, it put me right off my cheese and pickle sandwich, I can tell you. And whenever I hear that part of that song, I can see Hogarth's sex face, indeed. Now, I'm sure you ladies out there, all two of you that watch these videos, will probably enjoy that image, but to me, it spoilt the song. It's in my mind's eye. I can't scrub my mind's eye clean. It can't be gotten rid of. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. But hey, yeah, check it out at your own peril. Maybe I'll put a link in there for you to go and check it out. So, where was we? Where was we indeed? Looking at the clock, I think I might need to do one of my very, very subtle edits. What do you reckon? Should we do a subtle edit? Because I think I'm whittering on a bit. Just bear with me. Now, you didn't even see the join, did you? No, you didn't. You didn't see the join. Now, the band also threw in a couple of out-and-out rock songs, just throw them into the mix, just to fuck up the story and generally undermine the vibe that they've painted. And I cite "Hard as Love," which is probably one of the worst songs, well, worst rock songs, I might add, not worst songs. I think I've written some of the worst songs ever recorded, but it's certainly one of the worst rock songs I've ever heard. But the rumours that the band were actually writing about the stiffness of my particular member is entirely true. Just ask the missus. And my amazing ability as the human coat rack without using my hands. Now I've sold your mind with that mental image. And then the band do another musical poop in the shape of Paper Lies. Wrong kind of paper, should have been Toilet Paper Lies. It's an awkward little song about the tabloid press, having a pop at the tabloid press, but it really does sit awkwardly on the record. But even though there are a couple of missteps in the middle of the record, the band manages to pull everything back together for the final section of Brave. The song Brave Onwards. We're taken back on the roller coaster ride of emotion, and the story resolves itself. Now, back in the old days when we used to have those black shiny things called records, with the lines on, the vinyl listeners were in for a right old treat, because on the last side of the album they had a double groove. Now, what that means, for those of you who aren't in the know, is depending where the needle fell on the record, it will play one or two grooves. If it hit the first groove, you get like the happy ending, the ending that everybody who had the CD and the tape had, you get the made again version. But if it hit the second groove, you had like an alternate ending where things didn't turn out so rosy for the heroine, and you had the sound of splashing water, the inference that she'd thrown herself in the drink. But that's included on the second CD of the remaster, so if you want to hear that alternative thing, it's there for you. The final track of the album is Made Again, and we see the lead character finding redemption. And like many concept albums, it really is indeed a journey of self-discovery and redemption. Although in this instance, I think we could have got to the end a bit quicker. And that leads me to my main problem with the record. It didn't have enough weight behind it for it to be a decent double album, and it had too much material to be a single album. But we end up with this whopping 71 minutes of music. Now, this is back in the days when bands were given a CD and say, go on, fill it up, fill it to the brim. Go on, you do it. And indeed, the boys did just that. Now, for me, if they'd have dropped off Hard as Love, The Hollow Man, Paper Lies, you'd have a much more satisfying listen. And of course, feel free to disagree with me in the comments box below if you want to. But I have fond memories of when the album came out, and I thought it was, a work of pure brilliance. I really did. I really, really liked it. And then Afraid of Sunlight popped up about just over a year later, and I was much more impressed by that album. It got to the point in a lot less time. It was if one album, popped up and was pointing and winking and nudging and going, look at the other album, look, cool. That was a bit overcooked, wasn't it? Where the slim svelte figure of Afraid of Sunlight, and then you had like the Darren Lock shaped version of Brave, all out of condition, and like, I could have done me a bit quicker. Yeah, that's what it was like. Yeah. But despite my niggles, the album is still better than anything that Fish has done since Vigil in a Wilderness of Mirrors, and it stands well as a concept album, and it gives a unique perspective of being a very feminine record written by a load of airy-arsed men. And for that reason, and that reason alone, another lovely mental image I've painted, I'm going to give this 4 opium dens out of 5. Yes, that's 4 opium dens out of 5, and there's one knocked off for the album being about 20 minutes too long. It's unfortunate, sometimes, being succinct, like these lovely prog reviews are succinct. I could have just given the rating and done it in 30 seconds, but you don't want that. You come for your 3 minutes and then skip through to the end, don't you? But I'm babbling on. My name's been Darren Lock. I've been talking about Marillion's Brave. I nearly forgot the title of the album then. It's been a long day. And this is my kind of concept album thingy that I hope you're all enjoying. Thanks for being a wonderfully patient audience. Please, sign up to the Facebooks and the Twitter face, and got a terrible cough. Terrible cough, you see. Sort of fags. I don't even smoke. What am I saying that for? Now you're going to think I smoke. I'm not a well man. I told you I was ill. That's what I'm having on my gravestone. Thanks, Mr. Milligan, for that one. But yeah, I don't know what the next album will be. Maybe I'll go back in time. I know some of you want me to do Frank Zappa. Maybe we'll do Frank Zappa, eh? I can hear 1,000 little Frank Zappa boners coming into existence then when I said that. And that's it. Only one more thing to say, without coughing, of course, and that is, prog on.